not doing the best right now for a couple different reasons, but I think this would be a good thing to play. So we already finished Koji's that playthrough, so I'm gonna go who to call. Yes. He calls Fuminori, because that's the one I didn't do. It's time to finish this. Just as promised earlier, Koji calls Fuminori again. The call goes through immediately. Fuminori must have been waiting for him. Hey, Koji, where are you? What difference does it make? As soon as Koji responds, a shrill wailing fills the house. Startled, Koji spins around to look into the hallway. The house phone is flashing. It's a signal an incoming call. I see, I figured you'd be at my house. Koji fell for it. Fuminori is the one calling the house, and now he knows exactly where Koji is. He must have predicted this would be Koji's first stop, and that Koji would call him upon finding it empty. So I guess you've already seen everything. Yeah. Koji keeps his voice bold to conceal his horror. When did Fuminori become so cunning? Looks like you've been quite the meat eater since we last met. Just how many people have you killed? Actually, I've only killed one so far. Fuminori replies, unapologetically, his tone upbeat. I've taken apart 3 or 4, though. I'm getting pretty good at removing the tendons and draining the blood and such. Koji no longer feels sadness or horror when faced with Fuminori's inhumanity. There is only the cold desire to kill the creature speaking such revolting words with his friend's voice. You killed Omi, didn't you? You bastard! You were lying when you said you hadn't seen her. I wonder, Fuminori mutters, seeming somehow embarrassed. I guess the first one I ate might have been Omi. It was the same day she disappeared, come to think of it. The body wasn't in any shape that I could identify. Koji has already abandoned hope, but it's still a shock to hear of his lover's brutal end. Scuba too? No, Fuminori says no. Fuminori says with an exasperated chuckle. She's here, like I promised. I'm no fool. I need her to trade with you, right? I won't waste her. Let me hear her voice. I don't think that's possible. She's in no shape to talk. Get it? Fuminori's dismissive words further sharpened Koji's bloodlust. You forgot what I said. If you don't let her go unharmed. Come on, be happy that she's still alive. Or would you rather have Yo as a corpse? Let's get this straight, Koji. You bring your evidence along with all the files you've gathered. When I'm satisfied that they're the real thing, I'll hand Yo over. Fine. It's obvious that this deal is a sham. In all likelihood, Fuminori is planning to kill him and bury his secrets forever. Moreover, Koji doubts that Yo is even alive. Her meat could very well be somewhere in the refrigerator right in front of them. However, Koji is in particular interested in Fuminori's true intentions. After all, he has no intention of making a trade either. His only goal is to get close enough to destroy Fuminori whenever he's pulling the strings. Where? You remember Dr. Ogai's house? The one you followed me to? Let's meet there tonight at 7. Come along. Hey! Fuminori hangs up without waiting for Koji's response. Perhaps Fuminori too has sensed his opponent's intent. If so, then he has realized that Koji is not just the hunted, but the hunter as well. Hunter x Hunter. So we're like duelists maneuvering for an advantage. Koji smiles grimly as he pockets his phone. It's astounding how much their relationship has changed. The question is whether or not to comply with the 7 o'clock rendezvous agreement. If this were a serious negotiation, then it would be wise to avoid preempting Fuminori in any way that could provoke his anger. What Koji and Fuminori are really doing, however, is trying to lure each other into a deadly trap. Koji doesn't know what Fuminori plans to do between now and then, but he's not about to let his enemy keep the initiative. The fierce bloodlust that has taken root in his heart is more than enough to energize his exhausted body. Koji leaves the death-filled house, his stride more determined than before. Today was the first time I've driven since my accident last summer. The proposition was always too dangerous to consider, given my inability to recognize roads and cars. Things have changed, however. In 3 months, I've had to adapt to my condition. I know what cars and pedestrians look like now. Even though I can't exactly see colors, I've learned to decipher lights and turn signals. I still can't Street signs, of course. Nevertheless, I managed to make it safely to our destination with Saya and Yo in the backseat. It was Saya who came up with the idea for our new hideout, an abandoned building she'd discovered while living with Dr. Ogai. So this is the same thing. In these hilly suburban residential areas, it's not hard to find thick patches of undeveloped forest just off the beaten path. Saya's old playground is located in one such secluded area, unaffected by the flow of everyday life. Used to be a privately operated sanatorium hidden among the silent trees. After the owners went bankrupt, it remained unsold and was eventually forgotten. After I left Saya and Yo at the hideout, I returned to town to make some preparations. Now I'm finally back at our new refuge. I liked this room from the moment I saw it. Mountains of construction material and garbage litter the front yard, forming a serviceable barricade. This place looks even less likely to receive unwanted attention than our house. Since my brain sees humans as revolting monsters, places they've been tend to stink or seem covered in filthy slime. Ruins like yours, long empty of life, are the places I find the most restful.
Tadaima.
I'm back! I call it to let them know that I'm not a stranger. Then I go down to the basement where they're hiding. I can't remember. Welcome back! Were you okay with the car? Saya. There was no problem at all. I figured out how to tell which roads are one way. As long as I keep my speed down, there's nothing to worry about. So how are things here? I took a look around. As I thought, there's no sign that anyone's been here since I found this place. It's safe. Hello, viewer. I wonder who you are. Are you one of the outside? You'll know what I mean if you are. I took a look around. As I thought, there's no sign that anyone's been here since I found this place. It's safe. Oh wait, I already read it. I see. No. That was Saya. This is Fuminori. I see. Let's hope it stays that way. I'm a little worried that this abandoned building could become a hangout for biker games or homeless people. It's probably because of all the trash piled out front. Most people won't get anywhere near that, don't you think? I guess. It doesn't bother me at all. I rather like it, in fact. But of course, normal people would feel differently. So, how was your shopping? Did you find something good? I sure did. I guess it's the same scene. It's the same weird tendon axe. Proudly unwrap the weapon I just bought from a camping goods store. A 1 meter long wood axe. The biggest and sturdiest I could find. I like how this was right next to a sign saying that long knives are illegal. Seems like you could do way more damage with one of these. I grip the axe with both hands, testing its dependable weight, then swinging it like a baseball bat. The deadly steel blade sweeps through the air right where a person's neck would be. Yo, who's sprawled out on the floor, flinches at the sound and curls herself into a ball. How sharp is it? Want to test it on Yo? I don't think that's a good idea. Definitely wasn't expecting Saya to suggest anything so brutal. You don't need to worry. Her new body can heal pretty easily from cuts and such. But I'm sure it'll hurt. Oh yeah, I guess you're right. I must have slipped her mind completely. She smiles at the oblivious Yo as if to hide her embarrassment and says, but her screams are pretty adorable, don't you think? There's someone in the house, and I don't want to let them know where I am. I think we're probably good. Well, I just wouldn't feel right using an axe on a human. Really then? What about Koji? That's easy. Should be obvious, but I guess that Saya still doesn't understand. I don't see him as human. I'll have no trouble cutting him to pieces. That really makes a difference? Yeah. Humans have conscience, you see. No matter how much you hate someone, you can't help but think twice about killing them. And that's how I'll win. Really? Saya seems awfully subdued. I guess she's concerned about what'll happen when I have it out with Koji. He's bigger and stronger, so I might not have much chance against him in a straight-up fight. But what's just slaying a monster to me is murder to him. This is big. He'll definitely hesitate when it counts. I'm a little worried, Saya says softly, staring at the floor with unusual gravity. You can never be sure how someone will react. It's dangerous to rely on that. She raises her head and looks straight at me. Don't you think it'd be better if I hunt him? I appreciate Saya's consideration, even though it could be interpreted as lack of faith in me. She's still putting my safety above hers. Nevertheless, I can't accept her heartfelt suggestion. With your strength, you might be able to overpower a girl like Yo, but I think it'd be hard for you to take down a guy. The bitter memory of that incident is still fresh in my mind. I don't want to get demonetized, am I right? Saya falls silent for a moment, seeming to understand what I'm thinking, but then comes right back to stubbornly press her case. My first attack went fine, though. Most humans go limp as soon as they see me. It was the same in a hospital. You were the only one who could talk to me. I guess you have a point. I can't imagine it personally, but I suppose it's possible that Saya's appearance is shocking enough to make someone lose their nerve. Suzumi was able to gain the advantage because he had the same condition as me, which let him see Saya as a cute girl. Fear doesn't necessarily make people weaker, however. Depending on the situation, it can even send someone into a berserk rage and make them harder to put down. In other words, such a tactic would be the same sort of gamble Saya's worried about. Alright, Saya, how about this? When I tell Saya the new plan that just popped into my head, her gloomy frown turns into a bright smile. That's perfect! You're so smart, Fuminori. Oh, stop. Not exactly a great plan, but I guess the fact that it lessens the risk to me is enough to excite her. She's so easy to please, but that's part of what makes her so cute. So when's Koji coming? I got a call from him this morning. For now, I've sent him on a wild goose chase. I'm thinking I should shake him up a little. It'd be best to take care of him after it's dark, don't you think? Yeah, when the time's right, I'll lure him here and finish him. We won't have to worry about witnesses here. We're going to get more human meat. Too bad it's just going to rot without a refrigerator. Why don't we use it to trap other animals? It can be bait for stray cats or crows. That's too dangerous. If an animal gets away with the meat, someone might find it and wonder where it came from. Good point. Humans are extremely dangerous, and their filthy, stinking bodies make me sick just by being nearby. Ironically, however, nothing tastes better than their meat. I truly regret having to abandon our well-stocked fridge. The forest around here is full of animals. Okay, I think we should be good. Let's pull Saya up. Forest around here is full of animals. I don't think we'll have any trouble finding food. We have 3 mouths to feed. Are you sure? Leave it to me. I might not look it, but I'm a pretty good hunter. I'll be sure to keep us well fed. Okay, but looks like you're going to have to be the breadwinner of this family. Okay. Oh, Saya giggles happily at my praise. I find these childish qualities of hers adorable. I wonder how long we'll be able to relax this time. Because of the casual way she says it, I almost miss the emphasis, the emptiness to which her question leads. Yeah. Saya's right. This won't last forever. No matter how safe this hideout might seem, we will have to abandon it eventually. The slightest mistake could put our life together in jeopardy, just like when I failed to silence Koji. Some dumb kids might decide that this old ruin is a good place to test their courage, or this land might be targeted for new development. In order to be together with Saya, I have chosen to live apart from society. We will never find lasting peace in this world teeming with humans, not unless we can somehow escape it. Ooh. More people. I think people are gone. Think of it like going. I'm so fucking stupid. I'm so goddamn stupid. My recorder has one person viewing me, and that's me on the other screen. That just bummed me out, guys. Thought I'd say that. Think of it like going on a journey, just the 2 of us. I pull Saya into my arms and fold my hands around her slender shoulders, then whisper, "Life is like a journey anyway. Nothing stays the same forever. The only difference is whether time passes you by or sweeps you up on its flow." I guess you're right. Saya smiles softly, perhaps in resignation, perhaps in sadness. Either way, there is peace and contentment in her expression. But we'll be together, so I'm not lonely. You're not lonely either, are you? No. I have no regrets. As long as I can hold Saya in my arms, I will gladly pay any price. And besides, she adds brightly, trying to cheer me up, one day we won't have to hide anymore. I can promise you that. Sounds like a fairy tale, but for some reason, she seems absolutely certain. That day might be tomorrow, or it might be far off in the future. It's my first time, so even I don't know when the sign will come. I'm a little scared. I have no idea what Saya's prophetic words mean, but this isn't the first time she's said or done something mysterious. She's performed any number of miracles already. So there's hope for us too? Yeah, she says with a cheerful nod. will be my last present to you, Fuminori. My first and final duty. Koji has nothing to do but wait. He has spent almost half a day in the dark, empty study, breathing stale air choked with mold as he strains his ears for the slightest hint of movement below. Few people could endure such a vigil, but Koji has accomplished it without complaint. If anything, the suffering is welcome, for it keeps his nerves honed to a razor's edge. Without a doubt, single-minded focus is the only thing allowing him to push the limits of his stamina. Koji understands this and embraces the pain. His closest friend has shattered his world like glass, and now Koji feels only hate towards the madness that has replaced it, and towards himself for allowing it to happen. Self-loathing is a more reliable source of willpower than any faith or resolve, no matter how noble. When he arrived at the Ogai house, Koji snuck carefully inside, hoping to perhaps take his enemy by surprise. It's only after he got inside that he realized the house was still abandoned. Even so, Koji was sure that Fuminori would arrive earlier than promised in order to set up an ambush. However, the light streaming through the windows turned red, then faded to darkness with no sign of anyone coming. Koji's patience has grown weaker and weaker by the moment, and now the appointed time has arrived. Just as Koji's frustration is about to peak, his phone begins to vibrate and flash. It's from Fuminori. He's calling rather than show up himself. Rage threatens to overwhelm. See, that's a stupid move because you're giving away your position. Rage threatened to overwhelm him for an instant, but Koji manages to keep his voice calm as he answers. What's going on here, Fuminori? Well, I was worried you might be wasting energy on something silly, like planning an ambush, Fuminori says. Chuckling scornfully. It's kind of late, but I guess I should tell you the real meeting place before you lose your mind. Did I make it in time? Son of a bitch! Come on, don't get mad. I'm just being careful, right? Fuminori laughs with unrestrained malevolence, as though to emphasize that he's seen through Koji's plans. Assuming you're at Dr. Ogai's house, there's a place nearby, within walking distance. You and I are there. I'll give you the address. You should be able to find it on your car's GPS. You have proof this isn't another trick? If you're that paranoid, you don't have to come. Just turn tail and run. Fuminori hangs up immediately after speaking his challenge. Koji leaps out of his chair and kicks it across the room, unable to find any other outlet for his rage. He has no choice but to do what Fuminori says. His stamina is already exhausted, only his obsession is keeping him going. If he allows himself even a moment's rest, he feels that he'll never again find the strength to face this madness. That is the only chance to kill Fuminori. Koji knows, of course, that his enemy is planning to ambush him. Fuminori isn't going to fight fair, but neither is Koji. When in the steady stride of a man half asleep, Koji leaves the Ogai house and heads for his car. Only the base of these foothills have been developed for housing. The address Fuminori gave Koji is outside of that area, in the thick forest that still covers the mountain's face. His car GPS shows a road that leads nowhere, but according to Fuminori, there should be an old, abandoned sanatorium there. It's definitely a place no one could find, not even by accident. Maybe this next stop really will be the last. Koji drives up the steep incline, soon leaving the residential neighborhood behind. Even though the hands of progress are right at its doorsteps, the undeveloped forest is darker than he expected. This looks like a great place to live in secret, or to kill someone and hide the body. Places like this, lost and forgotten, aren't found only in deep jungles and hidden valleys. Holes in the world are everywhere, even in the midst of civilization. A broken down gate post suddenly appears in Koji's headlights like a ghost rising from the darkness. I'm just gonna skip ahead. I'm just gonna skip ahead till something exciting happens, because I don't feel like reading all this shit. Pew 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 pew. So he just killed, what's her face, Yo, or Yo's. I hate calling her Yo, because that isn't Yo, but it's as close as we're going to get. Man, that was a pretty heavy swing just now. You're trying to kill me or something? Even now. They're fighting. Let's just listen to this bop for a bit. Die! Die! It's Cookie. Panics at the unexpected sensation. Something soft yet strong winds itself around his right leg and drags him to the floor before he can resist. Twists his body and tries to swing the pipe at the unseen enemy behind him, but his right hand too is seized by the same flexible force. Wasn't able to feel it through his pants, but now his blood turns icy with the cold, slimy sensation of the thing wrapped around his uncovered wrist. That monster's still alive? That's it. Saya, Fuminori says encouragingly. Even while kneeling on the floor, his face is twisted in pain. He manages a terrible, victorious grin. Saya? This monster is Saya? Koji struggles desperately to free his limbs from the creature's slimy grip. But more tentacles swarm over his body, stealing his freedom of movement. Ah! The horror has already driven Koji half mad just imagining the creature's appearance is enough to send him into a mindless panic. His scream is suddenly cut off as slimy appendages seize his throat. This most deadly tentacle isn't just cutting off his windpipe, it's trying to snap his neck, and it's getting tighter. The screen just flashed red. My mind hazy from the pain, I watch as Saya feasts upon her slain prey. We've won. It was hard, and I wasn't able to do it alone, but together we have defeated our enemy. The price was steep. At least 2 of my ribs are broken, sending a sharp pain shooting through my chest every time I breathe. And then there's Yo. I didn't expect her to fall to Koji so easily. I suppose that, unlike Saya, she might have been unfamiliar with how to use her new body in combat. My injury must have fueled Saya's anger. Her slaughter of Koji was merciless and complete. As soon as her prey stopped moving, she sank her teeth into its vital organs and ruthlessly extinguished the last embers of life. Though her brutal, grisly actions were unbecoming of her girlish appearance, Saya's face, covered in blood and gore, was that of a victorious queen of beasts lording over her defeated foe. This was something noble and sacred about her primal ferocity that made me reluctant to disturb her. I don't know how long I've been sitting here watching Saya feast. I've nearly fainted from the pain several times. To be honest, I'm not used to violence. The wounds I suffered in the car accident were worse, of course. But these broken ribs are the most severe injury that's ever been deliberately inflicted upon me. You think that Saya could show a little more concern for my condition. Koji's already dead as he can be, so there's no reason for her to be so greedy. Someone realized that Saya has stopped eating. Now she's lying on her back, rolling from side to side. Has she eaten too much? It's been several days since we had fresh, unfrozen meat, so I understand where her enthusiasm is coming from. But still, I'm wounded here. She could give me a hand, because I'm preoccupied with my own selfish wants. I'm slow to realize that something is wrong. Saya isn't resting. She's trembling, in agony. My blood goes cold, and the pain from my broken ribs is suddenly forgotten. Saya! I jump, run to her side, and cradle her fallen body in my arms. Her face is pale and drenched in sweat, and her half-closed eyelids and lips are shivering like she has a fever. What's going on? Was she wounded in the fight? Could the meat she just ate have been poisoned somehow? I don't understand. All I know that something terrible is happening. It's the picture. Saya! Saya! The only thing I can do is call her name with all my strength. Saya slowly opens her eyes and gazes vacantly into my face. Sorry, Fuminori. I'm fine. Really. It just hurts a little. What's wrong? What is it? Come on, Saya. There's no way she's fine. It's glaringly obvious that her condition is dire. Even so, I'm the only one who's panicking. Saya's expression is serene, as though she understands everything that is happening to her. She even smiles softly up at me. I can't believe it. I never thought it would come so soon. I might lose Saya. The thought is unbearable. Terror and despair are quickly overwhelming me. A feeling of utter helplessness that I cannot resist. Don't be afraid. Remember what I said? This is the sign. This is our only hope. Ooh. Someone's here. Whatever. Let's just get to this whole world-ending shit. This is the bad ending. Don't remember what I said. This is the sign. This is our only hope. What are you talking about? I don't understand. Stay with me, Saya. Saya answers my tearful entreaty with a smile like that of a mother comforting her child. I did it. I decided to do my best. After all, you said you loved me. You said that I was pretty. Stop this! Whatever is happening, I can't just sit by and watch as it causes Saya such agony. Please, whatever you're trying to do, I don't want to see you suffer. Don't be like that, Saya chides me. Please understand. In a soft voice, she reveals her secret. They're going to be born. Our children. For a moment, my mind goes completely blank. What? But when did you... I'm surprised too. Fuminori? Saya's labored breathing speaks to the terrible pain her tiny body is suffering. Even so, she wraps her arms tightly around my neck. Take me outside to an open place under the sky. Actually, I could probably play it. Take me outside to an open place, under the sky. I nod. What else can I do? If I speak, I'm afraid that I'll be unable to hold back my tears. I mustn't cry. Not when Saya is facing her torment so bravely. It feels like Saya is burning up in my arms, and I fear that the terrible convulsions that shoot through her at intervals will tear her frail body to pieces. Praying for her safety, I scoop Saya up and carry her swiftly out of the ruined building. Maybe the cold night air will soothe her fever, but that hope is futile, cruelly dashed as her breathing grows shallow and she moans through bluish lips. Saya, we're outside. In response to my call, she opens her eyes once more. Her gaze is cloudy and unfocused. She can no longer see. Nevertheless, Saya looks at me. I can tell that she's imagining my expression where my face should be. Just as I promised. This is my final present. I know. I hope you'll like it. Of course I will. Takes every ounce of my willpower, but I manage to make my voice light and cheerful. In Saya's mind's eye, I know that I am smiling. She won't have to see my face streaked with tears. Fuminori, to you who loved me, I give you this planet. Saya's whispers weak in pain, but there's ecstasy in her voice, ecstasy and joy. Her back suddenly shifts, then bulges outward. This world will be beautiful, she whispers in exultation. A world just for us. And then Saya blooms. How else can I describe it? Flower petals, long and wide, spread from her back like the wings of a newly formed butterfly. Their brilliant glow comes from the countless tiny scales that cover each petal like particles of light. Is this goodbye? I ask her, careful to keep the sorrow out of my voice. No, not goodbye. This is the beginning. Saya's pain must already have left her, for her expression is infinitely peaceful and content. The beginning of our world. The radiant motes rise on the wind, painting rivers of light in the frozen winter sky. It is beautiful, overwhelmingly, painfully beautiful. Singing victoriously of their freedom, the shining seeds of light are released into this vast and fertile land. Their song heralds the coming of a new world and the destruction of the old. It is a boundless healing. It is an eternal blessing. We shall fill the world with our joy. Now we'll be together forever, won't we? Embracing Saya's pitifully shrunken body, I gaze into the shining sky and let my tears flow freely. Thank you. Thank you for this final gift, Saya. She was worried at first how long the preserved food in the underground storeroom would last her, but now it seems that her fears were unfounded. It's the liquor she should have worried about. By savoring each drop of spiritus as though it were a last, she thought she could make her flask hold out a little longer, but she must have been consuming more each day, she realized. Who can blame her? There was no way she could have gotten through this without intoxicating amounts of distilled alcohol. Ryoko chased useless emotions like hope and despair from her mind. She found herself spending the most peaceful days of her life. As resignation set in, even hate and fear left her. Now she only fears. After all, neither she nor this well has any reason left to deny his research. Alone in the mountain cabin, Ryoko killed time by bringing up order to the documents that Ogai had left behind. She took the scattered and ciphered papers and rewrote them in a more readable fashion, limiting their redundancies and adding indexes and tables of contents. So I definitely got the good ending. This is the ending I was worried about. Ryoko did not intend for anyone to read them, of course. She knew full well how meaningless her actions were. With her reason to live gone, however, having something to devote her mind to was at least some relief. And now as the last congratulatory drops of spiritus vodka burn their way down Ryoko's throat, all of Ogai's research lies before her in a single volume. She has finally finished transcribing and annotating the last of his writings. Enjoying the satisfaction of a pointless job well done, she idly pages through the manuscript that she just completed. To contribute by summarizing my theory as it currently stands, the life form that I named Saya did not appear in our universe by chance, nor even as a result of my summoning, but because of the instincts that were programmed directly into her biology.
She was created to fulfill the same ultimate purpose that all life shares, reproduction. Saya and her kind procreate by spreading their seeds to other dimensions. What is the probability that they will discover a doorway to another world? Even if they succeed in doing so, the chance of that world being suitable for reproduction must be even more minute. In order to make the most of that scant probability, evolution has granted them a certain advantage, none other than the astounding ability that I have witnessed in Saya. To wit, they select the most prosperous life form they encounter, take control of it, and in doing so gain dominance over the planet's biosphere. In other words, they hijack the entire species. They do this by analyzing their target's genome, then overwriting its genetic code to remake it in their own image. Science biology is more than capable of inducing such dramatic and widespread mutation. There is a significant probability that the target species will have evolved into an intelligent life. This element may be necessary to gaining control of the planet's environment. Therefore, Saya and her sisters also plunder their target's culture and psychology. Her extraordinary learning ability and intellectual curiosity are likely instinctive tools that enable her to inherit the target species' entire wealth of knowledge. In fact, it may be that Saya's kind has always had its sights set on intelligent life. Perhaps they wait patiently for some foolish, extra-dimensional species to gain knowledge of other worlds and, in an attempt to satisfy its curiosity, they contact the outer universe in which they dwell, often since Saya are akin to their dimensional journeys with only lacking their own strength to depend on. Would not waiting for such contact greatly increase the chance of finding a world worthy of conquest?
Just as I have said. Just as I, having acquired the silver free, fancied myself an explorer of the unknown, how many more intelligent life forms on other worlds have thoughtlessly congratulated themselves for discovering Saya's sisters? But a sudden urge to go outside for a change, Ryoko gathers up the manuscript and heads to her car, which is parked in the front yard. She's completed her self-imposed final duty. There is no longer any reason for her to remain holed up in the mountain cabin. She drives a little further up the mountain to a place that offers a scenic view of the land below. In their days of change, Ryoko often came to this spot to watch helplessly over the mutating city. The one flaw in my theory comes from none other than Saya herself. After using me to learn everything she could about humanity, Saya should have been prepared to begin her last stage of invasion. However, she never carried out her mission. Why? Hypothesized that Saya was a regular among her kind. It is said that humans' race intelligence has allowed us to conquer our natural instincts. Perhaps, in absorbing this human psyche, Saya accidentally inherited the disease that infects our entire species. What is human love, really? What behavior could be more a hindrance to the efficient propagation of a species? I'm reminded of how, at the end of her studies, Saya consumed vast quantities of romantic literature all over the world. From all over the world. She tried to understand the romance as an integral part of the human reproductive progress. As a result, she might have unwillingly neutered her own unparalleled reproductive abilities. After all, she had not known love. She has not come to this world to rule it in our place. She has not come to rule it in her place and has studied humanity to fulfill that purpose, but ultimately she could not share love with a human. Without love's blessing, Saya was unable to find the passion to fill the world with her kind. In learning all that there was to know about humanity, she herself became hopelessly human. Weary of loneliness, she despaired of the world. Her pure maiden soul must have been. Jonah!
Yeah.
Don't say hi to Owen. Fine. You're interrupting my streaming, but I guess. So you don't want to come to a party? I'm sure. back to Song of Saya. Where she despaired of the world. How pure a maiden's soul must have been. If this hypothesis is correct, I cannot help but feel shame for having spoiled such an extraordinary organism. Saya. Not next to Ogai Masahiko, Ryoko now knows more about the entity. No, when the young man called Sakisaka Fuminori is added to the running, perhaps she only comes in third. In the end, she never encountered the creature face to face. She would like to have met it once, though. If Ogai's analysis of Saya's psychology is correct, then it must have been Sakisaka who restored her desire to conquer the world. Perhaps the Sakisaka chief physician, Ryoko, played some role in bringing the lonely young man inside together, in which case she should at least have had the right to attend their wedding to end all weddings. She might have even charged them a matchmaker's fee. I have a dream that one day my daughter will know the blessings of love. I pray that there will come a day when her heart burns with the flames of passion and her world becomes bright and joyous once more. When that day comes, Saya, your terrible, irresistible purpose will truly consume us, that your progeny may flourish. This whole world will know your love and be reborn. Ah, what wonders the future holds. I deeply regret that I must end my life before I can see that day come, but the footsteps of those who would destroy my dream grow closer by the hour. If I seal my lips in death, then their grasping hands will not reach you. Please forgive me, my daughter, for leaving you alone in this barren world. With the knowledge that you now possess, I know that you will find your own path. The radiance of your hard-won soul shall light the road ahead. Have no fear, have no doubt. March onward until you reach your answer at last. And I, Saya, will dream forever of the world you will create. Perhaps it is the isolated environment or the mountain air. Maybe she's just more resistant to the change. Whatever the case, Ryoko has not yet become as inhuman as the creatures wiggling through the city below. She does not know exactly how many people on this planet could still be called human, but she's one of the must only be a handful of survivors who are left to watch over the end of mankind. Of course, it's only a matter of time before she changes too. It's been 3 days since she chopped off her right hand, which had ceased to function as anything resembling a human hand. But the itching that had spread across her entire back is growing more intolerable by the hour. She could look in a mirror to see what she is becoming, but she doubts that it would make her happy. Ryoko thinks that maybe it would be best to just go to sleep here, with the world spread out before her. When she awakens, perhaps, she'll be ready to descend the mountain and join in the city's revelries. Maybe she won't even need such resolve anymore. Whatever the case, Ryoko thinks dreamily as she licks the very last drop from her flask. Even after I stopped being human, I hope I'll still enjoy the taste of booze. Bad end! Load. No. Because okay! That was, whew. Okay. I'm talking to myself, aren't I? But, okay. So, are we ready to see the other half? Want it all back? Well, of course, I answer without thinking. If it's possible to go back, then I want to. I think. I've never wondered if there could be any other answer. I stopped dwelling on this question a long time ago, and if I'd been asked before I met Saya, I wouldn't have hesitated. But what about now? What does it mean to wish for the past? And what could it do to me and Saya? As soon as these questions occur to me, my true feelings become unclear. The hurried answer I just gave her was less certain than I thought. Of course. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Of course you would. Saya smiles softly, her expression an unreadable mixture of what seems to be sorrow and relief. Seeing it fills me with sudden unease, as though I've just wounded her deeply with my careless words. Hey, Saya, It's okay, Fuminori. Don't say any more. Yeah, so I've streamed a bunch off. You can check it out later on the YouTube. It's okay, Fuminori. Don't say any more. Saya silences me with another kiss, and thrusts her tongue into my mouth with even greater passion than before. As the sweet softness of her tongue clouds my mind, I begin to feel an urgent need to say what she prevented me from saying, to speak those most important words. Saya. I can't speak, for some reason, and my mind is hazy. My consciousness is slipping away as the euphoria from her kiss spreads to my entire body. Sleep well, Fuminori, I hear Saya whisper softly from far away. Don't worry, when you wake up, it'll all be over. Wait, I have to tell you something before I sleep. Just one thing. My efforts are meaningless, however, as oblivion calls me into its embrace. When I awoke, the first thing that greeted me was a terrible stink. Mr. Suzumi's body was covered in flies, and I could smell the rotten stench that you would expect from a corpse. The night had ended, but Saya was nowhere to be seen in the morning light. Aside from the blood-covered floor, the kitchen looked the same as it had before the accident. In the den, however, the colors had been so soothing the day before now served as a stark reminder of what a distant world I'd been living in. Despite knowing that it would be futile, I wandered the house searching for Saya. For almost an hour I tried in vain to deny reality. Then I called the police. When the operator answered, I couldn't stop myself from crying. It had been such a long time since I'd heard a human voice other than Saya's. As became clear later, Mr. Suzumi had murdered his family before I killed him. Unable to give the police a satisfactory explanation, I was arrested for all 3 murders, and when they found the remains of Takahata Omi in my house, a 4th was added to the charges. During my interrogation, I told them everything exactly as it had happened, in every detail. The detectives didn't believe me, of course, but the doctors who came later did. He had me moved from a jail to a much cleaner white room. That's right. This room looks just as white to me as it does to everyone else. In the end, they declared me incapable of answering for my actions. Everything that had happened to me was real, but part of a reality incompatible with the rest of the world. So the doctors gave me a small place all to myself, a place where I could live in my own world. I am sad that I wasn't believed, but I know that it couldn't be helped. In this world, reality is what the majority says it is, and I had the misfortune to step outside of that box. The walls of my room are undeniably white. That, at least, I can be thankful for as I live the rest of my life out here. Everyone said that there was never any girl named Saya. Well, so be it. Saya was probably never part of their world. But why shouldn't I be able to hear Saya's voice here, in my room? This is my world, after all, a continuation of the very real time that we spent together. How long did I wait with such thoughts floating through my mind? One night, I awoke to the sound of something crawling down the hallway. The sound would not normally have woken me, but I must have had a premonition that night. Sleeping lighter than usual, I had waited for her arrival, and so I knew instantly that it was her. Saya? Noises. She did not answer, but I could feel her outside my door, struggling with some internal conflict. Why won't you let me hear my voice? Hear your voice? After a long silence, something small slid through the narrow bars of my peephole. It was a cell phone, the screen already showing a notepad with freshly entered text. My voice will sound so strange to you. I couldn't suppress a chuckle at Saya's uncharacteristic display of shyness. I don't care about that at all, I said, sending the phone back through the bars. I just want to hear you. See you. After a short pause, the phone returned to my side. Please, let me stay the Saya you remember. Okay. I'd started to suspect that it might be so. In the hell my eyes had made of the world, Saya alone had looked normal. I'd thought that she was somehow unique. In truth, however, She had probably been a different kind of unique than I'd imagined. It wasn't that my senses hadn't distorted her appearance, but that she had been so unusual, but that she had been so unusual as to seem normal to my twisted mind. Saya's true form was something other than what I had known. Now, however, I could see her as she really was. But Saya didn't want that, and it was not for me to question the workings of her heart. I just had to accept that girls need to keep some things private. I tried to say something to you that day. Do you remember? I slid the phone back to her. I was hoping you'd forgotten. I smiled wryly at the text on the screen, wondering if she really thought me so heartless. How could I forget? No one was listening, but still, it would have been embarrassing to speak the rest aloud, so I typed it into the phone. GHIJKLMNOTUVDEWXYMNOTU. I slid the phone. It's the last letter of each. I love you. Slid the phone back through the slot. I could sense her trembling outside my door. I couldn't hear her or see her, but still I knew. Saya was crying. I was ready, you know. Perhaps my word offered no comfort, spoken so late. Even so, I was ready. I had wanted to return to my old life, true, but I would have abandoned that wish for Saya. I know that I would have gone with her, hand in hand, as far as we could, even to the most forbidding of places. Saya too must have known that I was prepared, and because she knew, she stopped me from saying those words. If I had spoken that oath, there would have been no going back. What? Backlog. I'm sorry, I was a coward. Seeing the words on screen, I shook my head. It's not your fault. If I hadn't hesitated, you would have found the courage. I was afraid of you, how you were changing because of me. It's no one's fault. Saya couldn't bring herself to take everything from me, and I couldn't bring myself to give up everything for her. We were too weak to find happiness. What will you do now, Saya? I'll keep searching for my dad. He'll know how to send me back to where I came from. I see. You do want to go home, don't you? A short time passed with no words or messages exchanged. I wonder how many times in that brief silence, yes and no changed places in her mind. Yeah. When the phone finally returned, the characters on the screen seemed strangely uncertain. Well, I hope you find your father. I'll do my best. Oh, whoops. B. I'll do my best. The time had come for our parting. She had chosen her path, and I had given my blessing. There was nothing more to be said. If you change your mind, I'll always be here. You can come to see me whenever you want. I will. Thank you. Goodbye, Fuminori. I read her final message and returned the phone to the other side. Goodbye, Saya. She gently slapped my door in response, and then I heard the sound of her sliding off down the hallway. And I was left alone in the silence of the night.
They ain't got security cameras?
Ever since that day, I have been waiting. Perhaps Saya really did return to where she came from. Perhaps she is still wandering today looking for her father. It must be hard. She must be lonely. When she can no longer stand being alone, she will surely return to me. I am the only one who will comfort her and whisper sweet nothings in her ear. And so I wait, dreaming of her face and her voice. I wait, forever, in my white world. Okay. So, we did it. Yes. We did it. I played all of Song of Saya. I'm gonna redo the good ending because I feel like my voice acting wasn't too great for it, and I wanna really get us into it. Nitro Plus. Load. Load. Yes. Yes. Yada yada notes. They're meeting up. He can drive. He just has to... The lights are weird, but he's figured it out. They have a secret plan to get away. Or they have a secret... They come up with a secret plan to get Koji. There's an axe. He purchased an axe at a camping store, and it was right next to a sign that said, "Long knives are illegal." Wouldn't that do a lot more damage, though? How silly. What else? I think they'll be coming soon. Koji and Ryoko. This is... what else has been happening? What else happens? Saya's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to hunt for animals, aren't I?" "Yeah, you'll be the breadwinner of the family, Saya." Oh, my first and final duty. Shit, I don't... The hands of his watch move with agonizing slowness, as though counting down to the end of the world. In the hours since contacting Ryoko, Koji went back to his apartment, showered, changed clothes, and he'd even had his first full meal in days. He wanted to take a nap, knowing that he needed to rest. But no matter how hard he tried, sleep never came. Forcing himself to relax only made his nerves colder and sharper. With nothing else to do, until nightfall, yada yada, the city's so normal, I'm not, boo-hoo. I'll never get my life back. Ryoko arrives at the diner at 1 a.m., an hour later than they agreed upon. She has a heavy-looking duffel bag under her arm. Koji doesn't feel like asking what the bulges represent. Her duffel bag has a thermos with either 500 or 50 cc's of some liquid. The beast, Saya, is resistant to tearing damage, to slash and tearing damage. Ryoko stole a shotgun from her father's gun crew. She's really angry, and she's like, "To you right now, Fuminori's just some crazy cannibal, but there's so much more in this world, and if you take that final step, you will never be able to take it back." The call goes through quickly. Fuminori must have been waiting for it. "Sorry to keep you waiting, Fuminori. I've finished my preparations." "Koji, where are you?" Fuminori must have been... I already did this one today. Recently. Right, yeah. Leads him on a wild goose chase. Take responsibility for the coffee. She's giving him the coffee bill. What a jerk face. God. Fuminori calls him and makes him change locations 3 more times. Koji is beginning to doubt that Fuminori is watching. He must be using the time to guess when Koji arrives at each designated location. Yada yada, ba-ba-da-ba-da, making him guess. This place goes secret. I already did this. His phone starts ringing. I'm looking at my new home. Oh yeah. What? No! Grand distinct, however, from Minori's deal with thing. Squish. Koji freezes and stares down the hall. It was a wet sound that he heard just now, like someone dragging their feet. As he proceeds, a strange sound coming through the cracks in the concrete walls grow clearer. Before he knows it, he's standing on the threshold. The room is filled with a thick, viscous darkness, just like every other room that he's passed. There is more than just darkness, however. Something is there. He can hear pained breathing, like that of a wounded animal, and what sounds like sobbing. Sobbing? "Who's there?" Koji whispers into the darkness. Now that he's given away his position, he might as well turn on his light. For some reason, however, Koji feels that to do so would have disastrous consequences. Click. The last time I heard her voice on the phone, she was sobbing. The wheezing suddenly stops, and then... Code. Yeah, a whisper comes out of the darkness, though not a human voice, not by any measure. It speaks some blasphemous semblance of human words. A nightmarish flash of insight connects the dots in Koji's mind. Scuba? It can't be. Yo doesn't sound like this. She doesn't smell like this. Please, Koji, kill me! But if it's not Yo, then how does it know his name? Why is it begging him for help? No, it can't be Yo. She's human, not some creature that slithers and hides in the shadows. It hurts. This body always hurts. Save me, Koji! The thing wriggles closer. His reason cries out, imploring him to switch the light on before it's too late, or to turn and run if he cannot. But Koji isn't able to make either choice. He can only call out in vain to the amorphous shape in the darkness. Is it you, Scuba? Is it really you? Let me die. No more. Please kill me. Something soft and slimy slides over Koji's toes. Instinct overrides his will, forcing him to turn on the light and shine it at his feet. The white beam reveals everything. The merciless truth that finally shatters Koji's sanity. Terror wipes his mind of all but two words, gun and trigger. His fingers respond with instant obedience. There is an explosion of light and sound, both more intense than anticipated, and then the destructive forces are swallowed up by the darkness. His ears are still ringing from the bang, but he hears a weak voice coming from the shadows. It hurts! Koji screams and pulls the trigger again and again, certain that salvation can only come from the barrel of his gun. Light and darkness, explosion and silence, they dance before him 3 more times. Koji doesn't even need to aim. That horrible creature is right at his face, far too close to miss. Ryoko warned him how many bullets were left in the gun, but that information has already been driven from his mind. Even after the cold, heavy gloom wraps itself around him once more, Koji keeps pulling the trigger like a man possessed, paying no heed to the clicking of the empty weapon. His panic-stricken legs suddenly give out, sending him down hard on his backside. Even then, he keeps firing the empty gun. He knows no other way to erase the memory of the thing that he glimpsed in the beam of his flashlight. The light, which fell from his hand during the attack, is now pointing in a different direction, and though all 4 bullets must have hit their target, they were Koji's last card to play, which leaves him alone in the darkness with no way to defend himself. And just as he realizes this, a mass of rotting flesh rolls over him like a tidal wave. Oh no, you left. Oh, never mind. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts! I can't do that. He can no longer even scream as the thing pushes him onto his back. With fear seizing his throat in an iron grip, Koji struggles desperately against the monster as it crawls up his body towards his face. Covering his face with his left hand, he scrabbles wildly against the floor with his right, searching for a way out that doesn't exist. His mind is that of a feral animal, empty of everything but primal terror. And that is why, when his right hand closes around something hard at the last moment, he recognizes it instinctively as a weapon. Putting every ounce of strength into his arm, Koji swings the heavy object at the creature on top of him. He hears the thud of a blunt object striking something soft and wet, and then Koji's attacker rolls off him. As soon as he is able to move again, Koji leaps to his feet and grabs his new weapon with both hands, brandishing it like a charm to ward off evil. Only now does he realize that he's holding a rusty steel pipe. The monster is still sobbing. Ah! With a cry that is part scream, part roar, Koji raises the steel pipe and brings it crashing down on the cowering creature. He hears a wet sound and feels the blood-chilling sensation of its thick, soft flesh absorbing the blow. These combine to evoke an instinctive loathing that wipes his mind of all but the urge to destroy. Oops. Die! Die! Consumed by the same desperation with which he kept firing the empty gun, Koji rains blow after blow down on his enemy. After the 10th blow, its sobbing stops. After the 20th blow, it stops moving. And after the 30th blow, it begins to feel and sound more and more like he's beating a puddle of viscous liquid. Koji doesn't stop thrashing the creature until he recognizes enough of his senses to realize that whatever it might have been before, it is now nothing but a corpse. The pipe in his hand, covered with unidentifiable fluids and filth, suddenly feels unbearably heavy. You still haven't seen the most damning part of all this. Ryoko's voice plays back in his mind, and at last he knows how merciful her warning was. Now that his eyes are as open as hers, he is able to laugh in contempt of his own foolishness. 20 years of memories in the light of the sun, and if they were indeed precious to him, then he should never have come to this place. The black flames of despair rise within him, consuming fear and revulsion and pity. Only rage and hate remain. Every cell in his body cries out for vengeance, for the blood of the man who poisoned him with truth and tore him from the womb of innocence. And then, Koji, slave to hate, hears the sound of someone sneaking up behind him. Koji whirls, swinging his pipe with all the force he can muster. His enemy hastily leaps back to avoid the strike, surprised by his failure to catch Koji off guard. Twisted shadows dance in the beam of the light on the floor. Readying his pipe for the next blow, Koji faces off against his second attacker. Sakisaka Fuminori! Before this moment, Koji could never have imagined that he would ever speak his friend's name with such hatred. Hey, that's a pretty heavy swing you just now. You trying to kill me or something? Even now, Fuminori is smiling, as though the huge axe in his hand is just a sick joke. Damn, Koji, I thought you'd hesitate. You thought I'd hesitate against you? Koji sneers too, unable to contain his contempt for the notion. How did you kill Omi, you piece of shit? What did you do, Scuba? After all this, you expect me to think twice about killing you? That's my line, Koji, Fuminori growls, looking sadly at the pile of dead flesh at Koji's feet. How could you do such a horrible thing to Yo? I'll make sure you suffer before I kill you. Oh yeah, here we go. The blade of Fuminori's axe carves a murderous arc through the darkness, glittering menacingly at the faint light coming from the floor. Koji raises his pipe to block the ferocious swing. The heavy impact numbs his arms, but his large frame takes the blow without giving any ground. Fuminori presses the attack, delivering a second blow and a third. His axe, designed for chopping down trees, is deadlier and more durable than the piece of pipe Koji found discarded on the floor. Each strike Koji blocks sends a chunk of rust flying from his makeshift weapon. He can't win as long as he's on the defensive. He needs to create an opportunity to attack. Bastard! Koji blocks a crushing downward swing, then pushes back hard before Fuminori can pull away, throwing him off balance. Fuminori tumbles backward, then plants his feet to steady himself. Taking advantage of his opponent's temporary immobility, Koji delivers a punishing low kick to Fuminori's outer thigh. Gah! Fuminori grunts and retreats, swinging his axe wildly to prevent Koji from following up with another attack. Koji, however, does not press his advantage. He just stands where he is, calmly spearing Fuminori with his stare. You've never been in a fight, have you? Fuminori roars and comes in for another attack, but the damage to his right leg seems to be slowing his swing. Easily blocking the axe with his pipe, Koji waits for Fuminori to exhaust himself. Die! Die! Fuminori delivers blow after heavy blow, howling savagely all the while. What he does not realize, however, is the situation now favors composure, not brute force. When Fuminori raises his axe high for yet another attack, Koji sees that his movements have grown dull enough. Seizing the opportunity, Koji charges into Fuminori's range and grabs the haft of the axe with his left hand. Exclamation mark, question mark! As Fuminori recoils in fear, Koji swings his pipe hard at his enemy's unprotected side. He feels the crunch of ribs breaking. Gah! The pain drives Fuminori to his knees. Staring down at Fuminori's defenseless head, Koji, surprised by his own lack of emotion, raises his pipe high to deliver the finishing blow, which is when something wraps itself around his left ankle. I'm gonna go get some water real quick. Okay. I'm back. When something wraps itself around his left ankle. What? What? No, not right click. Oh shit, I got a Discord. Ah, okay. We'll answer that later. The instant Koji panics at the unexpected sensation, something soft yet strong winds itself around his right leg and drags him to the floor before he can resist. He twists his body and tries to swing the pipe at the unseen enemy behind him, but his right hand too is seized by the same flexible force. One sec. He wasn't able to feel it through his pants, but now his blood turns ice at the cold, slimy sensation of the thing wrapped around his uncovered wrist. That monster is still alive? That's it! Saya! Fuminori says encouragingly, even while kneeling on the floor, his face twisted in pain. He manages a terrible, victorious grin. Saya? This monster is Saya? Koji struggles desperately to free his limbs from the creature's slimy grip, but more tentacles swarm over his body, stealing his freedom of movement. Sorry, I'm saving my good screams for later. The horror had already driven Koji half mad. Just imagining the creature's appearance is enough to send him into a mindless panic. His scream is suddenly cut off as a slimy appendage seizes his throat. This most deadly tentacle isn't just cutting off his windpipe, it's trying to snap his neck, and it's getting tighter. Koji is certain that this is the end, but just as his vision begins to dim, an explosion brings him back to his senses. Gah! With a horrifying, inhuman scream, the creature releases Koji and retracts its tentacles. The first thing he sees after regaining his mobility is Ryoko running down the hall with a smoking shotgun in one hand and a silver tube in the other. Doctor! Ryoko responds by tossing him the tube. Though still lying on the floor, he manages to snatch it out of the air. It's the thermos she showed him at the restaurant, the one she called her secret weapon. Board on that thing! Ryoko shouts to Koji. At the same time, she aims her gun at Fuminori, who's still on his knees 5 paces away. The double-barreled shotgun still has one shot loaded. The monster that attacked Koji is writhing in agony. It hasn't yet recovered from Ryoko's shot. But he's already seen that bullets aren't enough to kill these creatures. Now is his only chance. What are you doing? Fuminori growls, gritting his teeth against the pain of his broken ribs. Forcing himself to be calm, Koji stands and carefully unscrews the lid of the thermos. There's no question in his mind that something extremely potent is inside. As soon as it is unsealed, a thick white mist pours out of the thermos and the surrounding air turns freezing cold. Instantly guessing what's inside, Koji lobs the thermos at the pile of flesh convulsing on the floor. The thermos sails through the air, spewing white fog, and like a baptismal font showers its liquid contents upon the hellish creature. Yeah! Its scream this time is incomparable to before. The monster thrashes in agony, wreathed in white smoke. Its screams are joined by Ryoko's cackling. That's what minus 197 degrees, you fucking monster! How does it feel? Cold? Hot? Not so tough now, are you? Perhaps the joy of vanquishing her nightmare was worth the last remnant of her sanity. The manic glee blazing in her eyes can belong only to a shattered mind. Monster! I'll kill you! Fuminori staggers to his feet, roaring black curses. His rage seems to have drowned out the pain of his broken bones. Ryoko is not one to underestimate the threat posed by his axe. Her mad laughter fades away, leaving only a cold smile as she pulls the trigger. With a short burst of dark flame, Ryoko's gun sputters and dies. Ryoko is not an expert on firearms. It never occurred to her that her shotgun shells needed proper storage. And besides, she always expected that any situation where a gun would be necessary would also be one she would not survive. Cursing in anger and dismay, Ryoko breaks the shotgun open and awkwardly pulls the dud out. Meanwhile, Fuminori stalks toward her like a vengeful demon, the head of his axe screaming as it drags along the floor. I have to stop him! Koji tries to charge Fuminori, but only succeeds at sending himself sprawling. One of his shoes is stuck to the floor, frozen by the liquid nitrogen. As Ryoko fumbles in her pocket for a new shell, Fuminori closes the distance and raises his axe in both hands. Damn! Koji curses and rips his shoe free of the frozen concrete, but he knows now that he'll never make it in time. Ryoko thrusts a new shell into the chamber of her shotgun and snaps it closed, then looks up to find her target. Fuminori is right before her, too close to evade, and his axe is already crashing down with the wind howling in its wake. Stop! The sound of bones shattering, tendons snapping, and flesh tearing blend together in foul harmony. Gah! Ugh. The thick blade enters through Ryoko's left shoulder, plowing through her collarbone and shoulder blade, smashing several ribs and popping her lung like a balloon before stopping in the center of her chest. Her expression Frozen in shock by the impact, she sprays a geyser of blood from her mouth. She should have died instantly, but through some unimaginable force of will, Ryoko clings to life for a few seconds more. Gritting through blood-stained lips, she raises her shotgun. Not to the front, but to the side. Beyond the barrel of her gun, wearing the 77 degree Kelvin mist, like a white cloak of death, is the weakly wriggling Saya. No! Fuminori's scream vanishes into the roar of the shotgun. The destruction is absolute. The impact of the shotgun pellets obliterates the half of Saya's body that fell prey to the liquid nitrogen. The frozen particles of Saya's shattered flesh drift to the floor like snow. Even the creature's special biology is insufficient to seal a wound of this size. From the opening pour its internal organs, a tide of liquid, slime, and fat whose color is far too foul to belong to any living creature. The monster convulses, wailing in a weak, pitiful voice. Saya. With his axe still buried in Ryoko's body, Fuminori stares at the dying creature, his expression utterly devoid of emotion. Koji grabs his pipe and prepares to attack Fuminori from behind, but freezes when he sees the emptiness of the face of the man he hated. Fuminori pulls his axe out of Ryoko's corpse, then looks at Koji with glazed eyes. There is no recognition in them, nor hate, nor rage. When Koji meets Fuminori's blank stare, he knows. There is nothing left in him to kill. Believe it or not, this is the good ending. Fuminori grips the axe closer to its head and raises it high, the blade toward his face. Actually, the other one was also arguably good, but this is the one I first got, so I'm happy with this one. Or content with this one. Fuminori grips the axe. No, I'm happy because Saya's dead, and that's all that matters. Because Saya spells the doom of the human race, and I'd rather not have humans die, because I like being a human, and I like humanity. Fuminori grips the axe closer to its head, and raises it high, the blade toward his face. Koji doesn't know whether he should interfere. But even if he wanted to, what could he say to stop Fuminori? Fuminori pulls his head back slowly, then drives his face into the blade of the axe like a spring-loaded toy. Crunch! His skull caves in with a dull, wet sound, and the spray of blood catches Koji in the face. Despite Fuminori's utter lack of hesitation, his first attempt at suicide succeeds only in transforming his face into a hash of crimson. Fuminori pulls his head back one more time, even slower than before. Then, with every ounce of strength left in his body, he slams it into the blood-stained axe. The sound is wetter than before. Fuminori's body goes limp, then tumbles face first to the floor. Koji stares at the two mangled corpses for a while. He feels completely left behind, like he can't remember why he's standing in a place with a steel pipe in his hand. The stale air filling the ruined building becomes choked with the stench of blood, and the crimson puddles gradually spread across the snow-covered floor. Yet the tranquility of the scene makes it seem like a painting. A soft, slimy sound breaks the silence. Koji looks at the mortally wounded monster. The creature is on death's door, but even so, it moves. Slowly, feebly, it drags its broken body through the sea of blood. It's coming for Fuminori. Koji had forgotten his anger, but now it comes surging back at full force. Die! He growls and stabs the monster with the end of his pipe. It convulses in agony, but keeps crawling towards Fuminori. Koji, they do have 9 lives, so Koji explodes into a frenzy of rage. Again and again, he smashes the helpless flesh beast with his pipe. Something tells him that if he does not stop it here, he will have truly lost. The monster, however, never succumbs. It struggles on beneath his blows until it finally reaches Fuminori's corpse. Don't touch him! Don't touch him! Damn you! What gives you the right? Koji keeps swinging, his fury unabated even as tears start to pool in his eyes. The monster's slime flies through the air, joining with the blood already covering his face. The creature extends one thin, trembling tentacle to touch Fuminori's shoulder, then lovingly caresses his blood-stained cheek. And then it stops moving. Even in its final moments, the monster would not let Fuminori go. It died joined with him, At last, Koji knows the world he loved is gone forever. Or is it? Hey! Omi says enthusiastically, the exposed bones of her face clattering. Why don't we go somewhere we could skate for this year's ski trip? Chunks of her body are missing, as though someone's been nibbling on her. It makes her look a lot thinner. She's been worried about her weight recently, but now she shouldn't need to diet. Fuminori laughs at Omi's crazy suggestion. That's right! You just started skating recently, didn't you? He sounds amused, but it's hard to tell from his expression, since his face has been cleaved in two by an axe. Not many people start skating in their 20s, you know. I heard that this was at least somewhat censored. Like, I'm pretty sure if there's DLC I can buy for it that's, like, the truly uncensored version, but I don't care. I was scared when I was little. Those shoes look like big knives. Yeah, I know. If someone kicked you in the face with one of those, you'd probably end up like me. Omi and Yo laugh at Fuminori's dumb joke. Yo never used to laugh with such exuberance. She seems truly happy now that she and Fuminori are officially together. But you were able to kill him on your first try? That's amazing, Omi. It's a lot like playing baseball. I don't think dialogue got cut. I don't know for sure, though. I think it's just like there's at least one nudity CG there where I was like, wow, they blacked out that, like, the lower feminine part. Kind of surprised, like, if you're gonna release a game that has hentai, but okay. So I'm pretty sure that's, like, not censored. But you were able to kill him on your first try. That's amazing, Omi. It's a lot like playing baseball. You swing hard and let the weight of the axe do the damage. Oh, whoops. I think it's supposed to be... But you were able to kill him on your first... Who did Omi kill, though? I don't know. He made killing him sound so easy. I figured I'd give it a try. And it was fun! What is this feeling? Something is wrong, though Koji can't put his finger on what. Oh well. I want to try eating Omi too. Ah, that's it. When he sees Yo's envious smile, Koji finally realizes what's bothering him. Hey, Scuba? What's wrong? Why are you... normal? Yo tilts her head quizzically, like she doesn't understand what he means. Normal? I'm always normal. Actually, I'm gonna look at the store page. Store. I thought I could right-click it. Song of Saya. Subtitle including the song. Saya. Huh. I guess it's not DLC. I heard that there was DLC for it, though. Yeah. It's amazing. They only have, like, 7 characters in this. We have Mr. Old Man, but we have the 4 friends, the doctor, and, Saya. So yeah, 7 characters in total. Don't need a whole big cast to tell a good story. No, I'm always normal. But back then you were... Oh, I get it! Yo nods in understanding. You're talking about when I would look different from you. That was such a long time ago. It was? Of course, he replies, deflecting Koji's confusion with that uncannily cheerful smile. After all, you're one of us now. Oh, of course. Koji looks down and is satisfied to see wriggling tentacles where his arms and legs should be. When he opens his eyes, his mattress and pillow are soaked with sweat. It's always the same nightmare. He doesn't know how many times he's had it, but at least he's not leaping out of the bed screaming anymore. He sits up, clutching his throbbing head. It's 4 in the morning. He hasn't had nearly enough rest, but he probably won't be able to get back to sleep tonight. Time for a smoke. A full pack will last him until dawn. Now, where did he put the pack he bought yesterday? Koji wanders sleepily into the den, where yet another old friend is waiting for him. You look like hell. Doctor, you're here too? Ryoko's chopped up corpse is sitting at his dining table, looking as deathly pale as ever as she sips coffee from a mug. You can't be getting much sleep tossing and turning like that every night. It's not always like this, Koji says amicably as he sits down across from her. If I take some pills, it usually helps. For now. Hallucinations like these are easier to deal with than elaborate nightmares like the one he just had. They should probably worry him more, though. If you'd listened to my warnings back then, you wouldn't be in such a bad shape now. Let's stop talking about that. What's done is done. Ryoko chuckles, smiling the same cruel manic smile that she used to when she was alive. Her left arm hangs from her half-severed shoulder, dangling like a forgotten wind chime. Sounds like you've come to terms with it. You were the same, weren't you? You managed to pass yourself off as an elite neurosurgeon most of the time. It's not hard keeping up appearances when you have to. The corpse shrugs her intact right shoulder and grimaces in disgust as she takes another sip of her coffee. But it's only going to get worse, you know. Time heals emotional wounds, but with you, it's more like you've been poisoned. She's probably right. Everyone dreams at night, no matter how dim the memories may get. The nightmares will always be there to tear into Koji with fresh fangs. The insanity that has taken root in his heart will grow, eventually consuming everything that's left inside of him. In my case, I've had you to learn from. I'm ready for anything. Is that so? Koji smiles confidently. Oh, whoops. Then stands and walks to the bathroom, where he retrieves the weapon that he keeps hidden behind the mirror. Ogai's revolver, the one souvenir that Koji bought back from the other world that night. It was tough, but I finally found someone who deals in these things. I bought enough bullets for it. Can you believe that ammunition is more expensive than the gun itself? Whoops. Again. How about that? In the mirror, Koji sees Ryoko with her axe-inflicted gash reversed. She raises her mug in a toast to Koji's resourcefulness. So, how many shots did you buy? Just one. This time, it's Koji who shrugs his shoulders. He uses both, exercising his privilege as the survivor. You see, I never want to be in a situation where I'll need more. Oh? The corpse in the mirror nods sagely, her smile approving. You really do get it. You'll see. There's a brief silence. Koji doesn't really feel like getting all melancholy with a dead woman. Hey doctor, let's give the diner coffee a rest. If you want, I'll put on a new pot of... When Koji turns around halfway through the sentence, he realizes that the room is empty, but for the silence of the night. And so, Koji returns to the world of the sane. He lights his first cigarette of the night and takes a deep drag. While sitting alone in his den, puffing on his smoke, he stares at the gun in his hand. He knows just how precarious a cliff he's standing on. The final line of which Ryoko spoke is now one step behind him. Koji no longer has anything to protect his soul. Now that Ogai Masihiko's fantasies and Tambo Ryoko's delusions have all become tangible horrors, he knows what insanity and despair truly are. Back in the real world, Sakisaka Fuminori is wanted for several gruesome murders. It didn't take long for someone to discover the stockpiles of human meat in the empty Sakisaka and Suzumi homes. In the two refrigerators were found the remains of Suzumi Yosuke, his wife and daughter, and Takahata Omi. They found the clothes and other effects of Scuba Yo, but were unable to locate any trace of her among the various body parts, a fact that made Koji's nightmares all the more vivid. Dr. Tanbo Ryoko of the T-University Hospital vanished mysteriously around the same time. Because she was Fuminori's chief physician, the police had been investigating her connection to his crimes. As for the two corpses secretly buried in the backyard of a certain ruin, well, they'll probably never be found. And this incident will just become another cold case. Koji really alone knows what really happened, and he has no intention of revealing it. Not now, not ever. Ogai's writings were not nonsense, which means that everything else was. What fool was it who said that men's are the lord of creation? Those can believe in paltry things like human wisdom and valor. Are those lucky innocents who have not looked into the abyss? Koji can no longer share in their blessed ignorance. He knows he has been defiled by the insanity called truth, and he will never believe again. If he has been poisoned, as Ryoko's ghost said, then the poison is none other than the truth itself. Just as pure oxygen is harmful to the body, the naked truth has the power to destroy men's minds. Only by diluting it with lies and taking it in small doses can humans maintain a healthy soul. No matter what horrors the world might hold, words once spoken by the living Tanba Ryoko passed through Koji's mind. I still have had some power against the madness. That, without a doubt, was the comfort that she kept hidden in her bosom, the only thing that allowed her to face her dreams each night. Koji has taken his predecessor's lessons to heart. He's prepared for anything. One bullet is always behind the bathroom mirror, promising him salvation. Hey, we did it! Yeah, that was... No. I don't think I can skip this, so... I think if... You can see all endings on this one if you just go through this entire video, but that's all.